Hey, it's Miss Averhart. Duh. Who else would it be? Okay, so this is video number 3 for Wednesday, April 1st through Friday, April 3rd. This is video number 3, and we're doing Act 1, Scene 5. And this is all we're going to do for Romeo and Juliet, the actual play. The district has developed plans and lessons for ninth grade English. So what I did was I mixed in their plans with what I was already doing because they coincided. So after this video, after listening to Act 1, Scene 5, we're not going to do the entire play. The way that the district has set up the learning, that you're going to explore the themes of Romeo and Juliet, or the essential question, do we determine our destinies? We're going to explore that not through the text, not through the actual play, but through nonfiction text or informational text. Just like our launch activity, that particular article was informational text. It was nonfiction. So it's going to be more articles like that where we are going to explore the theme, do we determine our destinies? So we're not going to look at the play in its entirety and look at how that theme is played out. We're going to actually look at informational text and see how that theme of fate versus free will is played out. So, but because I already began starting the play, I'm going to at least finish. I had already started Act 1, so I'm going to finish Act 1. Because one of the assignments was to complete the study guide questions for Act 1. So I'm going to finish what I started. So this is the second to the last video that I'm going to do for all of the assignments that were listed on my website. Now, once you go on my website and you see the other dates, those assignments are assignments that were given through the district. So there won't be a video from me for those assignments. The district has already done a video for those assignments. So the assignments that I will include on the website that are already planned by the district, they come with their own video. So I don't need to do a video. All right, so this is my second to the last video for the assignments that I put on my website before the district came up with their predetermined lesson plans for ninth grade. All right, so we're going to finish Act 1, Scene 5, because if you look on the website for Wednesday, April 1st through Friday, April 3rd, the assignment was to complete the study guide questions for Act 1. All right, so obviously, because I'm at home, I can do this. I like doing this at home because I can set the tone, the space of the energy of my space. So I got the incense going, candles, and get the Florida water and the Palo Santo and cedarwood smudge spray, clear the energy. Ask the ancestors to come up in here while I'm teaching. All right, they're always welcome. Okay, so we are on Act 1, Scene 5. Act 1, Scene 5. And this will be the third, part 3 video for Wednesday, April 1st through Friday, April 3rd. And I have the questions in front of me, so as I will stop and as I'm explaining what is going on in the play, I'll be answering the questions at the same time. So pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Yeah, so make sure you pay attention. And then on my last video, I will explain how we're moving forward. I will read directly from the email sent to all of us, and that is posted on the Detroit Public Schools Community District website from the superintendent, Dr. Vitti. I will read a portion of that email verbatim, word for word, on my very last video, so you can understand what this looks like, what this distance learning looks like, and why you should not be in the mindset that school is over with. I think that the wording should have been different. School is not over with. Just no one is reporting to a building. School is still in session. There are approximately 10 weeks left from the time of this video. 10 weeks left. 10 weeks left of the school year. 10 weeks. So there's 10 weeks left of instruction. I have posted on Microsoft Teams, and I'll talk more about that in my last video. I have posted on Microsoft Teams, I believe, 9 weeks worth of instruction. The last week worth of instruction, I think, will just be like a makeup. Not sure yet how that's going to look. But I have posted, I have scheduled in queue 10 weeks worth of instruction on Microsoft Teams. That is the platform that Detroit Public Schools Community District is using to disseminate distance learning. I have posted 9 weeks worth of assignments, and they're weekly. 9 weeks, because we have 10 weeks left of this school year. So school is not over. It is not over. School is still in session. It's just in session through a computer now. We're just not reporting to the building. So let me make that very clear. School is not over. School is not over until June 26, 2020. That is when the school year is officially over and out for the summer. Until then, assignments are still being given. They are still being given for the next 10 weeks. And these assignments can be used to determine whether or not you pass or fail that particular course. Now, you won't be graded for it, but I'm not going to get into that because I want to read verbatim what the superintendent has posted on the Detroit Public Schools Community District website and what was sent to us through our emails. I want to read verbatim. So that's going to be on the very last video that I do, just for the content that's on my website. Everything else, everything else that I post that comes from the district will include the videos that they have for that particular lesson. But I do want to make it clear that school is not over with. It's just that the buildings are closed, but the school year has not ended. The buildings are closed, but the school year has not ended. There are 10 weeks left of this school year. And that needs to be made very clear. School is not over. It is not over. There are still 10 weeks left of this school year. It's just that you're not reporting to a building to receive instruction. You're reporting either on the phone, through video conferencing, through a video like this, or chatting, with your teacher on the platform that the district is using, but it's not over. It has not been canceled. It's not over. It's just that we're not reporting to a building. All right, I want to make that very clear just in case it has not been clearly communicated on the news outlets. Like, school is not over. It is not over. Okay, still got 10 weeks left in this thing. All right, so we left off on Act 1, Scene 5. So as always, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to explain to you what the dialogue, what's going on, what are the characters saying to each other through dialogue, through their interaction with each other. So this video will be listed as part 3 under my instructional videos on my website. So here we go. We're on Act 1. We're on Act 1, Scene 5.
Where's Pot that he helps not to take away? He sift a treasure, he scrape a treasure.
When good manners shall lie all in one or two men's hands, and they unwashed too, 'tis a foul thing.
Away with the joint stools! Remove the court cupboards! Look to the plate! Oh, good thou, save me a piece of marzipan, and as thou loves me, let the porter let in Susan Grindstone and Nell. Anthony and Poppan! You are looked for and called for, asked for and sought for in the great chamber.
Oh, cannot be here and there too. Cheerly, boys, be brisk a while, and the longest liver take all.
Welcome, gentlemen. Ladies that have their toes unplayed with corns will walk about with you. Ah, my mistresses, would you be all will now deny to dance, huh? She that makes dainty, she elsewhere hath caught. Ah, am I come near ye now? Welcome, gentlemen. I have seen the day that I have worn a visor and could tell a whispering tale in a fair lady's ear, such as would please. Oh, 'tis gone. No. 'Tis gone, 'tis gone. You are welcome, gentlemen. Come, musicians, play. A hall, give room and foot it, girl. All night, you knaves, and turn the tables up, and quench the fire, the room is grown too hot. Ah, sir, this unlooked for sport comes well.
Cousin?
Nay, sit, good cousin Capulet. For you and I are past our dancing days. Oh.
Okay, so remember, in the previous scenes, we find out it was in scene. We find out in scene 3 and scene 4 that we found out in scene 3 that the Capulet. No, let's go back. We find out in scene 2 when Lord Capulet tells the Prince Paris that he's going to have a party at his house, and Paris is welcome to come and woo his daughter in her hand for marriage. So we find out in Act 1, Scene 2, that, let me make sure, Act 1, Scene 2 is when we're introduced to the first, when we're introduced to the party. That's where we first find out that Lord Capulet is going to throw this party. So now we're in scene 5 and we're at the actual party. And so Capulet comes in and he's like, welcome everyone. We're going to dance and have a good time. A very gracious host, okay? He's very he's a very welcoming host, very cheerful, of a cheerful disposition. Just like, yeah, come have fun, dance, that type of thing.
How long is it now since last yourself and I were in a mask? 30 years. What, man? 'Tis not so much. 'Tis since the nuptial of Lucentio. Come Pentecost as quickly as it will, some 25 years, and then we must. 'Tis more. His son is elder, sir. His son is dead. Will you tell me that? His son was but a ward 2 years ago.
So Lord Capulet and the second Capulet, it's just like when you at a party or a family gathering and your parents or your relatives say, dang, when's the last time I seen you? Or we ain't seen each other since so-and-so was a little kid. And then, you know, the aunt or whoever your parent may be talking to, like, no, girl, it ain't been that long. No, he had to been about, he had to be older than that. That's the conversation that they're having. He's like, when was the last time, we wore a mask? Because at this party, everyone has a mask on. And so the second Capulet is like, oh, it's been about 30 years. And Laura Capulet is like, no, man, it ain't been that long. No, such and such, we wore a mask at the wedding of Luci Lucentio. And so they're going back and forth. But to make it where you can understand, it's just like when you're at a reunion or a family gathering and you haven't seen somebody, or your parent haven't seen somebody in a long time, and they like, dang, when's the last time we've been together? And they go back and forth because one person can remember it differently than the other person. No, I remember when, your kid was like just like 5 years old, and the person like, no, they was only 3 when we was together. And they was like, what? It's been that long? Or they was only 3? I could have swore they was 5. That's the kind of dialogue that's going back and forth between Capulet and the second Capulet.
Friend, sir, what lady's that which doth enrich the hand of yonder knight?
I know not, sir.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So shows a snowy dove trooping with crows, as yonder lady o'er her fellows shows. The measure done, I watch her place of stand, and touching hers make blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night.
Alright, so remember Romeo back in Act. Let's go back. Back in Act 1, Scene 1. When Benvolio and Romeo were talking, and Romeo was telling Benvolio he was so in love with Rosaline. And so Benvolio is like, you know what? Why don't we go to this party that the Capulets are holding, and I guarantee you another girl will catch your eye. And remember, Romeo was like, nah, man, I got the hots for, I'm really feeling Rosaline. I don't think it's another girl as pretty, as beautiful as she is. Like, I really doubt it, but we'll go. And Benvolio was right. Romeo walks in and he sees Juliet. Juliet has caught his eye. And he asks one of the serving men, who is that? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know who she is. And so Romeo is talking out loud to himself about how just beautiful this girl is and how he has never saw true beauty till this night. So he don't forgot all about Rosaline. But while he's talking, Tybalt, the cousin of Juliet, the nephew of Capulet, is it Capulet or Lady Capulet? Let me go back to the beginning of my characters. Tybalt, who was the nephew to Lady Capulet, the cousin of Juliet, recognizes the voice, and he realizes that, oh no, a Montague has crashed the party. So here we go.
This by his voice should be a Montague. Psst, listen. Fetch me my rapier, boy.
What? Dares the slave come hither covered with an antique face to fleer and scorn at our solemnity? Now by the stock and honour of my kin, to strike him dead I hold it not a sin.
Alright, so Tybalt is like, oh, how dare you come up in our joint? And you think I'm not about to kill you right here on the spot? Like, you got a lot of nerve coming up in royalty. The likes of you, you're nothing. You're nothing. How dare you believe that you can even be in our presence? Like, let me just knock you off the map right now real quick. So he's like, where's my sword? Like, for real. We got to get you up out this joint. So before that, let me tell you that Romeo uses a metaphor to describe uh, Juliet's beauty. He describes her beauty as a rich jewel in the Ethiop's ear. Basically, jewelry, earring, in an Ethiopian's ear. Ethiopians are known to be of melanated descent. They are people of color. So Romeo describes Juliet, or compares Juliet's beauty to a jewel, an earring in an Ethiopian's ear. That's just how beautiful she is. He even Shakespeare knew about the beauty of melanated people. Quit playing. Quit playing. Um so what else? Let's see. What else does he describe her as? Yes. All right, yes. So I covered that. I covered how Tybalt reacts to hearing the voice of Romeo, knowing that he's a Montague. So let's keep going.
How now, kinsman? Wherefore storm you so? Uncle, this is a Montague, our foe. A villain that is hither come in spite to scorn at our solemnity this night.
Young Romeo, is he?
It is he, that villain, Romeo.
Content thee, gentle coz, let him alone. He bears him like a portly gentleman, and to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and well-governed youth. I would not for the wealth of all this town here in my house do him disparagement. Therefore be patient. Take no note of him. It is my will, the which if thou respect, show a fair presence and put off these frowns, an ill-beseeming semblance for a feast. It fits when...
All right, so Lord Capulet sees that Tybalt is just all he just feeling some kind of way. He mad. And so Lord Capulet's like, what is wrong with you? Like, dude, this is a party. We're supposed to be having fun. And Tybalt is like, Uncle, our enemy is up in your house. Like, dude, like, he can't be up in here. Like, no, you cannot have the enemy up in your house. Like, we need to handle this, and we need to handle it right now. And so Lord Capulet is like, let him alone. Leave him alone. Like, from what I've heard about him in these streets is that he has a good reputation. He is a well-respected young man. So leave him alone. We ain't having that nonsense tonight. Not up in my house. We ain't having this. So you just need to calm down. Leave him alone. Let him be. And of course, Tybalt doesn't like the response, but Lord Capulet has spoken. Like, we're not having that tonight. Like, I've heard good things about this young man, and his reputation precedes him. So you can just cut all that foolishness out, because we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Not tonight. Not up in my joint, and we having a good time. You need to chill out, bro. For real. Okay.
Such a villain as a guest, I'll not endure him.
He shall be endured. What goodman boy, I say, he shall go to. Am I the master hero? You go to. You will not endure him. God shall mend my soul. You make a mutiny among my guests. You will set cock-a-hoop. You'll be the man.
My uncle, it is a shame.
Go to. You're a saucy boy. Is so indeed. This trick may chance to scathe you. I know what. You must control me. Really, 'tis time. Well said, my heart. You are a pincock. Go. Be quiet, or... More light, more light! For shame, I'll make you quiet. What a chill in my heart!
Patience perforce with willful choral meeting makes my flesh tremble and have different greeting. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, now seeming sweet, convert to bitterest gall.
So Tybalt tells his uncle, I ain't putting up with this. I don't have to endure this. I don't have to put up with this. No. And his uncle was like, what? Who you talking to? You ain't going to endure this. You ain't going to put up with this. Or you going to put up with this up in my house, because this is my house and I'm the head of this house. So he like, boy, you don't lost your mind talking to me like that, acting like you run something up in here. No, I run this. And you are not going to embarrass me in front of my guests. So you will endure it, you will shut up about it, and you will get out my face. Basically. Now that's the Miss Everhart version. So Tybalt is like, all right, All right. Okay. I'll do what you say. I don't like it, but I'm going to do what you say, and I'm definitely not going to forget this. Like, the streets don't forget. So I'm not going to forget that he had the nerve to come up in my spot. Like, trust me, filing this up here in the memory bank for real, and we going to deal with this later. Like, I ain't going to act up and I ain't going to make a scene, but please don't think, Uncle, that I'm going to forget about this. Don't think I'm don't think I'm a wuss. I got this.
If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentler sin is this: my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is the holy palmer's kiss.
Have not saints lips, and holy palmers too?
Aye, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer.
Oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray. Grant thou, lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
Then move not while my prayer's effect I take. Thus, from my lips by thine my sin is purged.
Then have my lips the sin that they have took.
Sin from my lips, oh, trespass sweetly urged, give me my sin again.
You kiss
All
my...
right, so let me explain what's going on. So Romeo and Juliet finally meet. He touches her hands, and he uses this metaphor when they join hands. He uses the metaphor of when praying. So he uses the metaphor of comparing them locking hands as if they're praying, as if she is like this saint. In the Catholic religion, saints are considered very holy people. In order to be a saint, you have to go through an experience, a very, I want to say trial, tribulation, but in order to be a saint in the Catholic religion, you have to go through like this ascension, or this metamorphosis. You have to have this kind of supernatural, for lack of better words, experience or conversion. That's what I want to say, conversion with God. So to compare locking hands with Juliet to a pilgrim locking hands with the saints, he sees her as this spiritual, holy being, who is pure and sinless, because that's what saints, and I say this very loosely, saints represent in the Catholic faith, as someone who is holy, almost on the same level. I won't say on the same level, but comparable. They kind of, you can kind of compare them. It's on a comparable level to God, a saint. Not anybody, not just anybody can be a saint in the Catholic religion. Like I said, you have to go through this experience and this conversion. So him locking hands with her is like a pilgrim locking hands with a saint in prayer. It's like a holy spiritual experience. So that's the metaphor that Shakespeare uses when the two meet. It's spiritual, it's holy, it's sacred. And so They kiss. They kiss two times. They kiss two times. He kisses her, and he compares it to his sins being purged. If you've ever noticed, if you've ever observed worshipers in a Catholic service, they may kiss the feet of the Mother Mary, of a statue, or the feet of the Christ, or the feet of a saint. And it is significant of their sins being purged. And that is how Romeo describes his kiss with Juliet, because he just sees her as this pure, holy, spiritual being. He sees her, he is Shakespeare is using the saint as a metaphor of how Romeo sees Juliet. And so kissing her is like kissing a saint in the church, and his lips have now been purged of sin. And she says, well, if you kissing me have now purged you of sin, then I have taken on your sin. And so he kisses her again to remove his sin from her lips. Very romantic, if you can feel, or you can get into this type of scene and language and dialogue and interaction with the characters. It's very romantic, and yeah, romantic would be the word. So they kiss a total of 2 times. And yeah, there we go. So we're back at it.
Madam, your mother craves a word with you.
Thank you, nurse.
What is her mother?
Married bachelor. Her mother is a lady of the house, and a good lady, and a wise and virtuous. I nursed her daughter that you talked withal. I tell you, either can lay hold of her, she'll have the chinks.
Is she a Capulet? Oh dear, I can't. My life is my foe's debt.
All right, so the nurse interrupts Romeo and Juliet, their interaction, their meeting, and says, hey, I want to talk to you for a minute. Come on. And so Romeo asks the nurse, well, who is her mother? And he discovers that her mother is Lady Capulet. That this beautiful being that he just beheld and kissed twice is the daughter of his enemies, or his family's enemies.
Away, be gone. The sport is at the best. Aye, so I fear the more is my unrest.
Yes, gentlemen, prepare not to be gone. We have a trifling foolish banquet towards. Is it even so? Why, then I thank you all. I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night. More torches here. Come on in. Let's to bed. I sit up by my faith. It waxes late. I'll to my rest.
Come hither, nurse. What is yon gentleman?
The son and heir of old Tiberia.
What's he that now is going out of door?
Oh, marry, that I think be young Petruchio.
What's he that follows here that would not dance?
Oh, I know not.
Ask his name. If he be married, my grave is like to be my wedding bed.
His name is Romeo, and a Montague, the only son of your great enemy.
My only love sprung from my only hate. Too early seen unknown, and known too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me that I must love a loathed enemy.
What's this? What's this?
A rhyme I learned in now, of when I danced with all.
Juliet! Anon! Gone its away. The strangers all are gone.
All right, so Juliet asks the nurse to go find out what that young gentleman's name was, and she finds out through the nurse that it is Romeo, the only son of your enemy. And so Juliet is like, oh my God, how is it that I have fell in love with my family's, with the son of my family's, with the son of my family's enemy? So, you know, here in Act 1, Scene 5, we're looking at love at first sight. That Romeo and Juliet have fell in love with each other, and this was their first time ever meeting each other. So then you can have the discussion or the debate about, was this fate? Was it just fated for them to just fall in love with each other? Because how can you just fall in love with each other, fall in love with someone you just met? You kissed them 2 times and you held their hand and had maybe a 2-minute conversation, and now you're in love. So is it fate? Was it just meant to happen? Or was it free will? I mean, you could go back and forth with this thing. Unfortunately, we will not read the entire play, but at least you've been exposed to Shakespearean language. You've been exposed to dialogue and how dialogue propels the action of a play. You've been exposed to indirect and direct characterization based on how Romeo and Juliet interacted with each other. That's indirect characterization. How characters interact and engage with each other. What can you tell about them? What can you tell about their personalities and their characters based on that brief encounter that Romeo and Juliet had with each other at the party? What can you say about Tybalt and Lord Capulet, the conversation they had? That's indirect characterization based on how a character behaves or what they say. What can you say about their characters based on that interaction? Those are all examples of indirect characterization. So you've been exposed just in this one act to those elements that make a play or a story powerful and good and worth reading, and you want to read more. I mean, yeah, we know the end of the story. We know that they both die. But hopefully after listening and hearing Act 1 being read and then I'm interpreting it, it will make you want to know, okay, but what were all the events that led up to their death? So at least you've been exposed to it, so that to me, I've done my job. As at least I've exposed you to Shakespeare. Did we read the entire play? No, we didn't. But you've been exposed to it, and you've been exposed to different literary devices that make up the play. Are these all of the literary devices? Dialogue, direct characterization, indirect characterization, stage directions? No, obviously it's not. I mean, it's only Act 1. There's so many other, or also we did metaphor. There are so many other literary devices that Shakespeare used to write this play, but those were just some of them. And at least you've been introduced to it, at least you've been exposed to it, and hopefully it will encourage you, maybe later on to finish reading the play. Maybe, later on in life, you'll say, hey, I remember, reading about that, and you'll go and watch the movie or whatever. And hopefully it planted a seed and sparked an interest in you. So that's it. We will not do any more of Romeo and Juliet. We'll stop at Act 1. There were 5 scenes. The questions are on the website for an assignment. And I'll do my final video later on this week for the assignments that I had on my website, and then the rest will be the assignments and videos that the district has already created for you. So until next time, be blessed, be safe, be well, fear not, fear not, fear not, and know that everything, no matter how it looks, no matter how it feels, everything will all make sense, and it's all working for your highest and greatest good. Talk to you later.